Good morning and welcome to Thursday. I am Joe Jaquin, CEO of the Patriot Trading Group, and man, are we busy. So much going on. Listen, be patient with us. Shipping times have increased. The post office is executing their slowdown. You'll hear the Democrats and the Republicans the Democrats are mad at Trump because he won't give the post office billions and billions of dollars. The post office is upset, so they're taking longer and longer to deliver everything. Just a case in point, tubes for junk silver. Normally we order them, they're here in 3 days, 5 days maximum. Max 5 days, because they come by the post office. They're now taking 7 to 10 days, and it doesn't sound like a big deal, but it's a huge deal. So kind of like the toilet paper and the coin shortages, I doubled the order. And what's happened, unfortunately, well, it's actually a good problem, you guys have been buying 3 times the amount, so we're still behind. So now I'm going to triple the orders. Be patient with us. Everything is we got another shipping day today. Another one of those things. Hold on one second. Brooke, check the tote. I bet you she's in the tote. Okay. Sorry about that. Shipping call. So just be patient with us. We'll get them all out there to you. 800-951-0592. Colorado. Jason's better than me. He's actually a little more caught up than I am. We'll be we'll be shipping again today. And then another shipping on Tuesday and Wednesday of next week. And I'll say we'll be caught up, but I know we won't be because the orders just don't stop. Another big day in gold and silver. Silver, woo, baby, up $1.20, up over 28, almost $28.50 on silver. Gold at $2,060. Been as high as $270. Or 2,070. Could we see $2,100 tomorrow? A lot of economic data out. I've got two great items today for you. I've got a silver item, a gold item. We'll get to those in the next segment. So we're going to go a little early because it's going to go quick. So be ready. Be ready to dial. Be ready to buy. At a discount. I got 2 great items, a gold item and a silver item, and I want you to be ready because it is going to go quick. I've got Brooke and Arlene both here today, and we're ready for it. Jobless claims came out today. We got to talk about that. The election, got to talk about the election. So all this thing about the mail-in ballots, right? You know, Trump's like, hey, we don't want the mail-in ballots, and then, well, we don't want them in certain states, but other states it's okay. Here's my problem. My problem is the way things are set up right now. First of all, we don't even know who the vice president for the Democrats is going to be. And again, I think it's brilliant by the Democrats. They're actually playing this right. They got to keep Joe Biden from speaking. Did you see that blunder again? You know, Joe Biden, anytime he's interviewed by a black radio host or a black talk show host, right, he does the white guy trying to sound like he's black thing. He did it again. If you missed it about it, am I a junkie? Like people, you know, hey, we want him to take a cognitive test. And I do. I know I do because I feel like Biden's kind of losing his screws a little bit. You know, some days he doesn't know what day it is, right? Other times, I mean, just little things like that. And if you heard the latest interview about why he's not going to take the test, very, very interesting. But we don't know who the vice president, the Democrats are going to nominate as vice president. Which, again, I think it's great. Wait as long as you can to pick it so you can't hammer at them. But we're not even going to have the first debate before people can already cast their votes on the mail-ins, right? In other words, the ballots in the state, they'll already be there. And without there even being a debate yet, people could be voting. And obviously, I think most people know Donald Trump's probably going to mop the floor with Biden on these debates. So either the debate's got to move up, right, or the ballots got to wait, or one or the other. I don't know. It's incredible. This is what everything's upside down, backwards. Stimulus, no word on the stimulus. Jobless claims today 1.19 million, just 1.2 million. 1.2 million people file for unemployment claims for the very first time. Here's the good news. That was the lowest number yet in 20 weeks. That's still way, think about, we were at about, between 200 and 240,000 was what we were averaging pretty much for the last couple of years. Now we're saying 1.2 million, and we're trying to say, hey, that's good. Not really. Challenger, Gray, and Christmas, they tracked the layoffs. Layoff announcements for July continued to pile up. Third highest total ever. So, again, better, relatively speaking, but still, right, it's going to get tough. I don't know how, these jobs get back until we get people out there and doing stuff again, and it's just not happening. 1.2 million. Tomorrow we're going to get the government number. I'm going to warn you, I think we're going to get a big number. And by big, I mean somewhere close to 1 million. 1 million new jobs. The problem with it is 800,000 of it you got to throw away, because it'll be the rehiring of all the teachers and all of those. So it's kind of it's all going to be all government is what I'm getting at. The private sector jobs, we may not see any jobs in the private sector tomorrow, but we will get a big government job number tomorrow. Patriot Radio News Hour. We'll be back right after the break. 800-951-0592, Patriot Radio News Hour. As I told you, we have two different specials today. And the first one, we'll start with the gold. And this is if there's a lead pipe stone cold lock of the week, this is the item. So I've got 100 AU $10 Liberties. Okay, so AU's almost uncirculated. These are going to be really, really sharp-looking coins. But, again, we don't care about that. Condition to us, we like nice condition, but we, obviously all the stuff it's not worn flat. They don't got holes in them. You can read all the dates, all that stuff. But you know how we like to do it here. We don't like to pay extra. And this is why we're selling these today. Our regular $10 Liberties are at $1,180 a piece. Today, I've got 100 AU $10 Liberties. So this is almost uncirculated, right before they get graded here, at $1,150. So two AU 10s today would be $2,300. That's $25 less than our raw $20 gold pieces today. So this is a huge deal. We always, every once in a while, you can buy our what we call our circulated $10 gold pieces, 2 10s for the same price as a 20. Every once in a while, maybe you get them for $5 or $10 less. But you don't go out and get AU 10s and get them 2 AU 10s for $25 less than a raw 20. That's unheard of. It just doesn't happen. But this is why it's the lead pipe lock of the week. AU $10 Liberty gold pieces at $1,150 today at 800-951-0592. I mean, gold's up almost $30 again this morning. Silver. Man, silver is just unstoppable. Up almost $1.50 now. $28.30 on silver. And today, it's an interesting thing. I've got 250 rolls. I don't know what they are. They may be quarters. They may be $half. They may be dimes. It's the mystery utility silver. Right now, $half are $250. Quarters are at $245. And the dimes are at $122.50. Today, I've got 250 rolls of I don't know. As long as you're okay with I don't know, you're going to save a bunch of money. We're ignoring ignoring the last 2 days of silver. Just ignoring it, throwing it out the window. Silver's gone up about $2 an ounce in the last 2 days. We're throwing it out in this deal. So $235 a roll. If they end up being, and that's how you got to order them. Hey, give me a roll of the mystery. Give me 10 rolls of the mystery. Give me 25 rolls of the mystery. $235. If they end up being dimes, we'll just double your rolls for you. So don't worry about that. But if you want silver and you want it below like $35 an ounce, this is it. $235 a roll for that utility or AKA junk silver pre-1965, and you're saving anywhere between $10 and $15 a roll on. And again, if they're dimes, we'll double it for you. We just bought them this morning. The Bullion Bank, the guy was in the parking lot of the Bullion Bank. And how the Bullion Bank works, you have to be a dealer to do business with these guys. The line was out the door, but he was in line. He was in line, but it's out the door. They have security there. And so the Bullion Bank has sold me the bags, but they said, I don't know what they are. So silver, 800-951-0592. Rolls of junk silver. These are the pre-1965. They're quarters, dimes, or half dollars. $235 a roll. AU $10 Liberty gold pieces. The lead pipe lock of the week at $1,150. That's over a $50 savings. I think it's like a $60 savings off the regular AU price. That's how great of a deal it is at 800-951-0592. Now, here's the thing. I only got 250 rolls of the utility. 100 rolls is a full bag. So, people are, if you want to buy a full bag, you can buy a full bag. You want to buy it all, you can buy it all, or you can buy it a roll at a time. On the gold side, we only had 100 of them. That won't make the day anymore. We're starting to see now the gold ETFs. Demand is through the roof. Last week I told you ETF was already at an all-time record high. ETF holdings now. So remember the ETFs, how this works. It's a great little scam that Wall Street created for itself. You actually don't get any gold. But what they do, for every 10 ounces of gold you buy in this ETF, they've got to put 1 ounce in storage. Okay, so that's the law, the rule. Remember the other day I told you 100 metric tons of gold for the August contract, which expires here in a few weeks, was earmarked for delivery. My guess is a large chunk of that had to go to the ETF holdings because they just don't have enough gold. As of yesterday, and again, looking at what gold's done today, I promise you it's gone up. They now have the second largest gold holdings, official gold holdings in the world. Of course, we think China has it, but right now we've got 8,000 metric tons. Germany was the second largest gold holder at over 3,000 metric tons. The ETFs have now passed it. This is the demand that we're seeing play out here in these markets. And I got to imagine the silver ETF has got to be at an all-time record high as well. And you sit there, listen, obviously Bank of America, they're big fans of mine. They listen to the show all the time. Yesterday they came out and said, hey, you know what? Gold's going to be $3,000, right? Gold's going to be $3,000 in the next 12 months. And I'm going to tell you, I think it's going to be $3,000 right near the end in the next 6 months. But, remember my call, $2,500 to $3,000 before the end of the year. Bank of America agrees. And you think about $3,000 gold, right? Silver, right? That puts silver right near all-time record highs. And everybody sees this. And everybody's watching, and everybody knows, right? They're doing the math together. Remember the story I told you about treasuries. Why would you buy treasuries? Right now, officially, U.S. Treasuries' average loss is over 1%, 1.07% losing value when you buy them. After you factor in inflation, the problem is, like I said yesterday, listen, you got to factor in the falling dollar as well. If you factor that in, all of a sudden now you're losing 2, 3, 4% on a treasury. And remember all the reasons they, you don't want to own gold because it doesn't pay interest. When I started here 17 years ago, they were still saying that. Gold doesn't pay interest. Why would you want to hold it? Of course, remember, treasuries used to pay you 5, 6, 7% interest, right? And so even when you subtract, let's just say 5%, and let's just say inflation was 2%. Well, that still left you 3%. And the dollar, it was king dollar, right? You didn't even really factor in the dollar. You got to now. But now with the rates where they're at, by the way, if you stay on hold, we'll get to you in the order that you called. All lines are busy. So if you get our voicemail, hang up and keep trying. If you leave a voicemail, we'll call you back afterwards, and I hope that we still have product available. But right now, all lines are full. And again, I told you this was going to happen. Just put it away. Be patient with us. But treasuries, after you factor in, they lose money. And everybody now is saying, right, and the 10-year note is a little over 0.5%. All the banks now are saying, hey, guess what? It's going to zero. So if it goes to zero, and I don't know that it will or not. I mean, that would really be interesting to see if that occurred. But if treasuries go to zero, I would have to assume that negative rates are going to be coming. If they go to zero, again, keep trying to. The girls are really busy. We've got a couple lines open. They'll get off and they'll just be patient. Call back again, 800-951-0592. But as we sit there talking about treasuries, they're thinking that treasuries could go to zero. And they're talking about the 10-year note. That would mean the 2-year notes, the 3-year notes, the 5-year notes, the 7-year notes would all be in negative territory, which I guess would mean that, right now, officially, the Fed's funds rate is between 0 and 0.25. Is the Fed going to go negative? Is that what they're saying? Is the Fed going to just say, okay, we're going to go to 0 instead of between 0 and 0.25? I guess so. But again, if that occurs, now you think about how big the losses are going to be now. Instead of 1.5%, right? And think about it right now, if you're buying a 2-year note, you're not losing 1%. You're losing almost 2%. Now all of a sudden, what, are you going to lose 3 or 4 or 5%? No, people that would normally have bought bonds are now buying gold. Because guess what? Yeah, okay, gold doesn't pay you interest. It doesn't. But it's not costing you anything. Right? If you store your gold at your house, okay, maybe you got to go down. You got to go down to the gun store and get a safe, or you go to Home Depot, or you go to not Home Depot, you go to Costco, something like that. Maybe you spend $200 or $300 on a safe. But that's it. And then, of course, you think about, hey, the dollar keeps falling. Gold is rising, right? All the banks now are saying, okay, 3,000, 4,000. And I just look at gold. If you do what it did the last time, so gold was $800. When it broke its all-time high, it went from $800 to $1,900. If we get the same type of move this time around, right, what are we looking at? $4,500 gold at a minimum? Then you start thinking about the deficits. Now, I heard this morning that stimulus bill, and you're seeing the stock change. You got to watch them because they'll tell you. They're now saying $2 trillion. So they want the Democrats. The Democrats want $3 trillion. The Republicans want $1 trillion. So they're doing hey, it's okay. Wall Street would like $2 trillion. Go ahead and do $2 trillion. Like, we give you permission to do $2 trillion. So now that officially, that just locks us in, doesn't it? That just would guarantee us a $30 trillion budget deficit or national debt by the end of the year. It's incredible. Incredible how fast this thing is rising. And here's the thing. A lot of people out there say that's not the answer, right? The answer is, hey, listen, we got to come up with some kind of something, whether it's a cure, a vaccine, something to give confidence, and it hasn't happened. And then you factor in a potential Biden winning the elections. I mean, it's it could be. I saw we got on our website today. One of the gold bug guys is saying $4,000 gold. He could be right. He could be right. $50 silver. I didn't want to admit it. I didn't want to say it. But I've got to. I think $50 silver is still going to be cheap. Listen, because, judging by what Eric had said, right, if gold's going to 20,000, what does that leave silver? 300, 400, 500? Patriot Radio News Hour. We'll be back after the break.
Use words like no, sir, yes, ma'am, back.
800-951-0592. Patriot Radio News Hour. We may be out of the $10 gold pieces. I'm going to make a phone call. Arlene is going to make me a phone call here. I have the utility silver, and I knew this was going to happen. It's just not going to last. We're down 175 rolls of the utility silver. Listen, get on it. Just simple math here, okay? You're looking at gold approaching $2,100. Okay, $2,100 gold. My ratio is 65-1, puts silver at over $32 to the ounce. And silver's getting there. Silver's down. It's down to 72 ounces. Silver's making up for lost time. And again, I 3,000's in the bag. It may take 3 to 6 months, but it's in the bag, and a lot higher than that. I think we're going to see new all-time highs on silver in the next year. New all-time highs on silver. I mean, when you look at gold in the last 12 months in gold, gold's up what, 500, almost $590, $600 gold's up in the last year alone. That would put gold around $2,700, $2,800. I mean, that puts silver well into the 40s. Take the time, put it away while you can. Here's the thing I'm hearing out there: availability is getting more and more difficult. You got to remember, this COVID thing, we know it's an issue here. It's an issue everywhere. And now the miners, right? You're thinking about miners. Most of the gold and the silver that they're getting, right? They're going down in these elevators where they're crammed in there, and there's 20 or 30 guys in close proximity. I mean, it's a lot of physical labor involved in these things. And so these mines, the production, some of the mines have had to close completely. Other mines, listen, the production's way down. We know about the mint. The mint's like, listen, we can't mint this stuff. We can't do it. You got to stand too close together, right? We can't keep up with the production. Availability is going to be a problem. And when you start seeing, and again, we're seeing record flows of dollars into the markets, and you're noticing these moves are occurring in the U.S. markets, right? This isn't outside in the U.S. markets. The dollar gets beat down in the U.S. markets. That means U.S. investors are bailing out, and they're looking at where to go. Normally, in older times, in normal times, where do they bail out at? They bail out into bonds, right? They'd go and buy treasuries, right? Now they're like, wait a minute. Why do I want to buy? Why would I want to lock in losses for years? Whether it's 2 years, 5 years, 10 years. Heaven forbid you buy a 30-year, even a 30-year note. You're losing money. And they're flooding it into the gold markets, the physical markets. You know, every day. Well, look at we just ran $10 libs. It was a great deal, and we didn't even make it a half hour. It lasted 20 minutes. This is what we're going to see. I'll just tell you, the largest wholesaler, when they're so big. You know, they got offices all over the world. I talk to the executive vice president every single day. I mean, for a little small company, we're a big deal. We sell a lot of product. Tens of millions of dollars a year. And he's begging me, Joe, you got anything to sell me? Right? This is unprecedented. Even during the financial crisis, it wasn't like this. Because you got to remember, during the financial crisis, I mean, the mint ramped up production. I mean, they were at the height, they made 50 million ounces of silver. 50 million. Now they're lucky they won't even mint 15 million ounces this year. Problem is, they probably could have sold 100 million. 800-951-0592. For right now, I am out of AU $10 liberties. During the break, I'll try to see if I can get some more somewhere else. I don't think I can. Utility silver. And remember the deal. I don't know what it is. It could all be half dollars. It could all be quarters. It could be dimes. It could be a mix. $2.35 a roll. So it's a big savings there. 800-951-0592. There's one line open. We had 175 rolls left when I started this segment, so it's not going up. We got two lines open, so now's your time. It's not going to last. Right? I'll be surprised if it lasts through the show. This is how hard it's going to be to get product in here. 800-951-0592. For those of you that have already ordered, so you're like, hey, wait, I haven't gotten mine yet. Don't worry. Another shipment's going out today. I have all the utility silver for the orders that are in-house. I'm waiting on the rolls. The rolls should be here. Hopefully by tomorrow it'll all go out. This product here, the guy is in line at the Bullion Bank. And the Bullion Bank, it's one of the largest in the world. It's in San Diego. The line is out the door. The guy's in line. The Bullion Bank has sold me the 2 bags that he's bringing. We don't know what it is. That's why we're selling it this way. 800-951-0592. Rolls of junk silver. They're $2.35 a roll. And again, I don't know what it is. And again, if it's dimes, you'll get 2 rolls instead of 1. Oh, look at this. Speak of the devil. That looks like coin tubes to me. So it looks like possibly the silver tubes are here. Plus, it looks like more silver is here. So for those of you that were still waiting, it's here. We got one line open, 800-951-0592. But this is it. This is why we're seeing an unprecedented move into physical metals. The gold ETF now, it's the second largest official gold holdings in the world at over 3,000 metric tons. And my guess is, before the end of the year, it's going to be over 4,000 metric tons. That means, think about it. They need another 1,000 metric tons minimum. The demand for gold and silver is the same. Think about what silver is doing in just the last 2 weeks. Big money is flowing into those markets. We got one caller on hold. We'll get to you here momentarily on line 2. 800-951-0592. I'm like a traffic cop trying to direct all the people out here. Patriot Radio News Hour. We'll be back right after the break. Welcome back, Patriot Radio News Hour. We are out of the AU tent. I just got off the phone with another wholesaler. It just is what it is. I have no idea how many rolls are left in the utility silver, but if I was guessing, maybe 100 rolls, maybe less. We started the show with 250 rolls. We had 100 AU $10 liberties. Those are completely gone. Right now, there's 2 lines open. If you're on hold, continue to wait, and we'll get to you as quickly as we can. And again, this is a big move. We're seeing even the paper, what I'll call the paper, silver, and gold guys. They're into the party now, right? These are guys that they're paper guys. They don't want to own the gold. They don't want to, but they want to have exposure to the gold. Owning gold miners is difficult. It's difficult, right? You don't know which mine. We had to close down because we had a COVID outbreak in the middle of the jungle in Tanzania, right? You don't know. The gold miners, sure, the prices are rising, but you never know what these gold. You could have gold miners, stock go down, even with new all-time high prices, if their mines are shut down or whatever. I mean, you just never know, right? Strikes and power problems and this and that. I mean, a lot of that can affect it, but you have a lot of huge paper exposure now. The ETS, so you think about it, if they've got over 3,000, and it's over, I think it's like 3,500 metric tons. 3,500 metric tons. That actually means that there's 35,000 metric tons of exposure. I mean, that would be more than all of the gold held by all of the central banks in the world. And it's unprecedented, but it makes sense, right? You think about all these central banks are doing the same thing, which is printing, right? Balance sheets, how big is our balance sheet going to be? I mean, Deutsche Bank says $20 trillion is going to be the Fed's balance sheet in a couple of years. 10 trillion's in the bag. I mean, we can all agree on that. And there's still bailouts to happen. Commercial real estate, right? Probably bailouts there. What about the eviction thing? How that plays out? There could be bailouts there. A lot of this debt out there. You've got 7 or 8 great companies, right? You've got a handful of those pharmaceuticals that the government's just throwing billions of dollars at. Everybody else, though, that's the problem. And you look at the yields on the Treasury notes, which is the normal safe haven for paper people, is Treasuries. That's no longer a valid option, especially now at least the paper guys. I don't necessarily believe this, but the paper guys believe that rates are going to go lower, which means the return on buying treasuries gets worse, which means more money continues to flow into the gold and the silver markets. And I think, we've been sitting here and we watch it every day, $20, $30, $40, $50, right? $20 to $50 moves now on a daily basis. We don't even blink an eye anymore, right? I mean, silver, it's up $1.50. Right? And again, but these are the moves we see in silver. Silver's moved $1.50 now. How many, at least 4 or 5 times in the last 15 days. Right? We don't, you just don't bat an eye. And I think what we're going to see is we're just scratching the surface. Don't be surprised to see a $4 or $5 move in silver. I wouldn't be shocked at all to see silver up $4 or $5 in a day. Don't be surprised at all to see gold up $200, $300 a day, $400 in a day. When these markets lock up, and right now the only thing preventing the bond markets from locking up is the central bank is the buyer of last resorts. And eventually you keep pulling on that string, right? You keep pulling on that string. Eventually, you hit that point where it snaps. And that's what I think a lot of the paper guys yet, they're not there yet. They're worried because they see it. Okay? I'm telling you right now, today they're pricing in $2 trillion for the next round of stimulus. But here's the problem. When you look at jobs and jobless claims and all of those things, that doesn't get the economy back open. All that does is prevents 30 million people from rioting. Right? They've got to get some. Listen, you can't pay them nothing. Right? You can't go and say, hey, you just get your state unemployment benefit. None of those people can pay their bills. I mean, how could you pay your bills in Arizona on $240 a week? It can't be done. Can't be done. That's like not even $1,000 for the month. You're lucky. I mean, that's well, you got a wife, 2 kids. You're lucky to go grocery shopping. Maybe you can pay the electric bill. You're not paying the mortgage. You're not paying the car insurance. You're not paying the car payment. And you know how we are as Americans. We take, if you're making $50,000, $60,000, $70,000, $40,000, $100,000, $200,000, you live your lifestyle, you spend it all. Right? At the end of the month, hey, I make $200,000 a year, but, between my mortgage and my car payments and this and that, my kids' braces and blah, 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 I spend it. So we've got to do something. And that's the problem. The problem is we have to do it because what's the answer? I mean, 30 million households? 800-951-0592. I'll try to get you a count on the rolls and what's left when we return. Utility Silver Mystery Rolls, $2.35 a roll. Patriot Radio News Hour, final segment coming up. 800-951-0592. The first time since the show started, all lines are open. The mystery utility silver, the junk silver rolls at $2.35 a roll. This is it. The gold we're out. We had the AU10s. Those are sold out. But we still have. We got a little more than I thought. So we got over 125 rolls still left. So we started with 250. On the utility silver, the junk silver rolls could be $half, could be quarters, could be dimes. And remember, if they're dimes, when you order a roll, you'll get 2 rolls of dimes. But they're $2.35 a roll at 800-951-0592. Still no deal on the relief. Jim Cramer this morning saying if we've got no deal, we're going to get a big market sell-off. And I agree. I think that's what may have to happen for this deal to get done. I don't know how they're going to do it. I mean, 30 million people next week are only going to get their state benefit, which is peanuts. And some states pay more, but the states that pay you more, it costs way more to live. So it's still nowhere close to enough. And no deal. Obviously, jobless claims today, another 1.2 million, 1.19 million people file for unemployment benefits. That brings the total to 55.3 million. We know the continuing claims number, that 30 million. I know on TV they only tell you it's 16 or 17 million because, they don't want to include the people that are filed with the government. Now, those people, I believe, get nothing. So if you were a contract worker, I think, don't quote me on that, but I think they get nothing. In other words, I think they only were getting the emergency relief. I could be wrong on that. But when you include those people, those contract workers that were able to file, because in normal times you're not allowed to file as a contract worker, that brings that total to 30 million people. So Cramer today, no deal. We're going to have a sell-off. It's not like we can just avoid a deal and say it doesn't matter. And that's what I'm concerned about. And that's what I'm concerned. This is exactly what I'm telling you. What are you going to do? We got 30 million people that need money. I mean, you think what was happening in Portland and Seattle and Chicago, you think that's bad. Imagine 30 million people that can't pay their bills. And again, I don't know what the numbers are in other states, but here in Arizona, you only get $240. I mean, lately, just out of boredom, like if my wife's going grocery shopping, I'm like, yeah, let's mask up and let's go, right? I got something to do because I'm bored out of my mind. It's ridiculous, the pricing. Things at the They've gotten more expensive, and everything's got all the packaging gets smaller and smaller. I mean, $240. I mean, you know, you think about $1,000, not even quite $1,000, and they got to pay taxes on top of that too. Don't forget about that. I don't know how you do it. I mean, there's not very many places in Phoenix where you can rent for less than $1,000. I mean, not very many at all, but I mean, they're out there, but still, $700-800, right? I mean, you know, how do you buy food? How do you pay the light bill? How do you pay? So whatever, they're not going to pay the rent. They're not going to pay the car. They're not going to pay their insurance. Right now, when you gave them the extra $600, at least they were still paying some of that stuff. Patriot Radio News Hour. Get into the markets while you can. Silver, utility silver mystery rolls at $235 at 800-951-0592. Patriot Radio News Hour. One more show tomorrow at Jack Davis Friday.